Being an effective self-advocate. Asking for what you need, what you want, and what you're worth requires practice, so practice self-love and start asking. Advocating for yourself can sometimes seem stressful or scary, but it's something that takes time to learn. It may be tempting to let a parent or someone else advocate for you, but eventually you may have to be your own advocate. So it's good to start soon and start small. Here are a few tips to get you started. First, let's talk about what self-advocacy is not. It is not a demand. It is not an excuse to be rude to the other person. It is not trying to force others to see things your way. And it is not a reason to expect everything to go your way. It is, on the other hand, a request for someone to hear your side of the story and potentially come up with a compromise. It is an opportunity to share concerns with the proper people in the proper order. It is sharing your perspective with those making the decision so you can feel a fair decision was made. And it is gathering as much information as possible so you can make an educated choice. So, when might you need to advocate for yourself? Maybe when you feel you have extenuating circumstances that may need a special accommodation. Or when you feel like you would like additional support or resources beyond what is typically offered. Or when you feel you are in a situation where you're being treated unfairly and need support to resolve the issue. First, let's take a look at Lucia. She has had a recent and severe medical condition that is impacting her academics. She does feel with a little extra time she could get caught back up rather than having to withdraw. She might want to advocate for an extension or an incomplete so that she has more time to finish her coursework. It would be up to her to communicate with her faculty as soon as she's aware that she needs more time. There's no guarantee that they will accommodate her, but she should work with her professors as a first step. Next, let's talk about Rose. Rose has a documented disability and is registered with the Disability Services Office on campus. She has found that even though she's taking a great deal of time to prepare for exams, she isn't doing as well as she feels she could. It is Rose's responsibility to talk with her professors and let them know about her legal accommodations. If they are not willing to let her use those accommodations, she must advocate for herself by going through the proper channels. In this case, she should probably go to the Disability Services Office and confirm the accommodation, and then work with that office to inform the professors and take the next steps. Next, let's take a look at Steve and Tito, who are roommates in the residence hall. Steve is continually disrespecting the roommate contract the two of them signed when they moved onto campus. Steve is always taking Tito's food without asking, or letting his friends use Tito's computer when they're over. Tito talked with Steve, but Steve doesn't seem to understand what the big deal is. Then Tito tried to bring in the RA, but no changes have been made. Rather than going to the housing office and demand a new roommate, Tito advocates that what is going on is not fair and asks what help can be provided. Sometimes you might have to advocate for yourself via email. Let's take a look at these two emails to a professor, both from the same student, about a concern on a previous exam. As you read through both of them, think about which email would get a better response from the professor. The first email is very short and has a tone of blaming the professor rather than taking responsibility. There's not a solution offered that is fair or a compromise. In the second email, the student is opening a conversation with their professor about what can be done going forward. Sometimes you may have to advocate for yourself in a face-to-face conversation. Here are some do's and don'ts of talking with faculty face-to-face. You can apply these same concepts to other situations in which you might have to advocate for yourself as well. Do go during office hours rather than trying to have a conversation at the end of your class period. It can leave the conversation feeling rushed and you might not get the response that you were hoping for. Do have a plan of what you want to say within the conversation. Do take responsibility for what you have and have not done. Ask questions so you can better understand the situation. Finally, acknowledge the positive. What's gone well so far? What do you like about the course? And so on. Don't start the conversation off angry or aggressive. This will make the other person feel defensive. Don't place blame or make excuses. It will only make it look like you're looking for the easy way out. Don't focus on what can't be changed. It won't help you find a resolution. Finally, don't compare yourself to other students. You never know what they're going through, so just stay focused on your own current situation. Finally, don't forget to follow up with your conversations. This may be one of the most important pieces of advice when it comes to self-advocacy. This doesn't just apply to your life as a student. Follow up with your doctor's office, your insurance company, professors, work supervisors, or many other areas of adulthood. Here's a few tips to help you follow up. Written is best when possible. Send an email so you have a paper trail of your conversation. Thank the person for their help and their time. Restate what you are asking for and the deadline so you have that in writing as well. If you are leaving a voicemail or sending an email, keep it clear and concise. If you still need the other person to take a next step, make sure to follow up regularly, but not too frequently. Give the person enough time to realistically complete the task you have asked. Finally, remind them before the deadline. Everyone is very busy, so make sure to remind the person a couple days or a week before the item is due. The final part of self-advocacy that I want to talk to you about is a very critical one. It's about asking questions. It's important to know that not everyone knows everything, so when you are unsure, ask the best source. If you aren't sure about a professor's grading policy, ask them. If you aren't sure when a bill is due, call the company. If you aren't sure how to go about getting car insurance, ask somebody who has car insurance. If you're not sure what your health insurance will cover, give the company a call. If you aren't sure what resources are on campus for students, ask a professor or a staff person. The most important thing is to just ask someone. Ask Google, ask EHP, ask a professional. It doesn't matter. Just ask. I hope this video has left you feeling a little more prepared when it comes to being a self-advocate. And don't forget, to receive credit for attending a workshop, make sure you take the quiz.